afternoon, everyone. My name is Edward Luna. Thank you all for coming to one of our amazing, as many we'll have throughout the school year and throughout the summer, hopefully, our career chat session. I'd like to welcome our guest who took the time and wanted to be with us and talk to us about his experience, and that's Samuel Machado. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
He's a John Jay alum, currently working as a business development coordinator for the global team at Whitecase. And he'll be here talking to us about our journey and letting us an insight about, his day-to-day stuff. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to him. And at the end, we'll take some question and answer. And I want folks to understand that this is a welcoming session. No question is a dumb question. So ask as many questions after our 15 or 20-minute talk, whatever Samuel needs the time for. But without further said, I will keep quiet and turn it over to Samuel.
Thank you, Edwin. Well, I guess I can start by my experience in the admission process for John Jay and how I ended up the way where I am today. I'm Venezuelan. I moved to the U.S. in 2016. I did not speak any English. I went to Queens College to learn English. In 6 months, I learned fast enough to get admitted into BMCC. Then I transferred after a semester to John Jay and graduated in 2021 in the spring. Shortly after that, like a couple of weeks after, I was hired in a law firm, big corporate law firm of New York called Wachtell, Lipton, as a litigation paralegal. There I got to work with incredible partners and associates and the lawyers. And that experience was extremely valuable. That was one of the great experiences I got thanks to going to John Jay and having my major in law and society. It really gave me a good background, academic background to work in this, legal field. After that, I moved to my current job, which is business development, which business development in law pretty much works with the partners, which are the maximum ranking lawyers, in sustaining and creating new client relationships. So you have to have some legal background because you have to be familiar with the clients and the work that a law firm does for these clients. And also have some kind of marketing background. In my case, I didn't have to have it because they just were looking for someone with a strong legal background. And that's how I ended up working here. So far, I really like it. It's a great experience. You really get familiar with all practice areas in corporate law. The main two aspects in corporate law is what they call corporate. That has many other sub categories, and the litigation. So that's pretty much it. I guess I can get questions.
All right, folks. If you want to ask any questions, you can put it on the chat. Or if you want to talk, you can raise your hands and we can definitely mitigate it from there. So fire away, folks. Guess I'll start with a question, actually, Samuel. How did you feel the transition was, especially coming from, from the standpoint of going from Chase to going, I'm sorry, not from Chase, I'm sorry, from working into that sort of field of paralegal, given the background that you had?
The transition from being a student to a paralegal, or from a paralegal to my current job?
To your current job.
When you're a paralegal, particularly in litigation, you work fully with the cases that you are assigned to. So you have to do full legal work. That includes, reviewing drafts. The drafts, when I refer to drafts, they can be any kind of legal paper that is going to be submitted to the court or to the other side of the litigation. one of the main things that a litigation paralegal would do is review memos or memorandums. They are the motion, the main kind of paper that explains the reasons for and the evidence for a motion in the process of a litigation. That's the main aspect of it, and everything that surrounds a memo is a big aspect of being a paralegal, because each memo has generally something called exhibits that are the evidence. It can be documents, it can be pictures, it can be even little pieces of the testimony of any witness. So the transition from that to where I currently am is that now I'm not as involved in litigation period, and I'm also not involved in direct legal work, because my work is more with the partners in getting and maintaining the client relationship. Once that relationship is established, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to do the actual legal work for the client. That the lawyers do that on the legal teams, the paralegals, whatever.
Okay. Oh, here's a question in the chat. That's a good one response. How was the process when working as a paralegal?
Well, as I was explaining, the process is pretty much working as a direct help to the lawyers, mostly to the associates of the difference of an associate and a partner is that when you just graduate law school, you get hired in law firms as an associate attorney for several years, and then maybe you can, what they say, make a partner. They make you a partner of the firm, which is basically you become an owner of the firm and also representative of it. So partner is generally considered the highest rank in a law firm. So most of the work that a paralegal does is with the associates, not with the partners, but sometimes with the partners. And the process, as I said, involves help in all. I'm just reading the question. What paperwork will they ask in order to work with the firm? Well, it depends what kind of firm. In my example, I worked in a corporate law firm. They just ask the general, paperwork, like you need to employment authorization and all that, obviously. And you also need credentials, academic credentials. If you're going to John Jay, you just need your bachelor's degree. Generally, they require a bachelor's degree in these kind of law firms. Associate's degree, I'm not sure how open they will be for that, but they require a bachelor's degree, and if you have a good academic standing, that will be obviously the best for you. But if you don't, I'm sure you can find law firms that will hire you for your your talents as well. So my advice will be, like, you just have to go for it. If you like a position, apply, and make sure to say that you are familiar with this and that. Even if you're not familiar with everything, at least try to highlight what you are familiar with, because you don't have to have a perfect fit. That almost always doesn't exist. You just have to have a certain kind of familiarity with some aspects of the position, and you have to go for it. You have to. I mean, I'm talking from. You can hear my accent. I have an accent. I came to these countries 7 years ago only, and I just was confident. I just went for it. I want this job. I feel I'm good. I'm going to be good at it. Just have to have trust in yourself. But initially, you don't really have to have experience. That's one of the main aspects of being a paralegal in corporate law firms, is that you don't have to have paralegal experience before for entry levels. You just have to have a bachelor's degree, and that's it.
Question. I was going to ask, what was the moment that you had while you were studying college that you're like, okay, this is the career track I wanted to go to. This is what I want to do. Was it always, okay, hey, look, I want to do this, this, and this? Or was it a moment that you had, like, I might want to look at this?
Yes. Well, I got really interested in litigation, which was the position I had right after college, because in my last semester, I had or the one before, I don't really remember what exact semester, but it was definitely the last year, a constitutional law class. And in that class, I had to submit a paper on a constitutional litigation in the Supreme Court of the United States, where the Social Security Administration had some kind of legal loophole for that will benefit only widows, but not widowers. So, like, it kind of was discriminated against men, which was interesting, but also against women that were the breadwinners. So the entire case was so interesting, and how the litigation process works. That was wow, this is so interesting, and that's how I ended up in litigation. And why I left litigation was mostly because of the hours. That's something that I also have to highlight about the position. It's a position that requires a lot of time. It's a lot of work, and the hours are like, if you want to work for a firm that is known in the corporate world as a top firm, most likely it's a firm that will require a lot of hours. I'm talking about 70 hours a week. So that's probably why I left to a more like calm position that require a bit less hours a week. Yeah.
Interesting. So work-based balance was really a key important part. It's a good startup, but workplace balance ended up becoming a whole lot better scenario.
Yeah, and you can find that. You can perfectly find that. It's not something impossible. I mean, here I am. I'm still working in law, and the hours in my current position are really good. If you still want to work in litigation or something more involved with legal cases, you can also find that. It really depends on the company you work for. The company I was working as a litigation paralegal is really known for being very aggressive. For example, I worked in the Twitter case. This Twitter case last year where Elon Musk didn't want to buy it. Like, he wanted to buy it and he didn't want to buy it, and then Twitter sued him. I worked in that case. So it's really large cases, really aggressive cases that that law firm works with.
Excellent. Does anyone else have any questions, concerns?
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm applying for a lot of. Excuse me?
Go for it, Dylan.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So I'm applying to a lot of legal administrative assistant positions. I'm about to graduate next month. But all these positions that I'm looking at, they're not really at like a lot of big name corporate law firms. They're at like smaller, more regional ones, but they all want experience. They all want 2, 3, 4, 5 years of experience for positions that are really, they're not hard to train. And it's really discouraging because every application, I go and look at, I'll go and read the application, and then I'll go to, the requirements or qualifications or, whatever they want to call it, and it'll show experience, and I check off all the boxes except for the experience, and then I just don't end up applying because it's just so discouraging.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure how to, approach that. I'm really thinking about just, exiting the job search and going to get my paralegal certification, after my graduation. So, I just wanted to, hear what you had to say about that. Should I maybe, go get the certification and revisit these applications in a year's time, or, should I, continue looking and just, stay optimistic?
Yeah. Dylan, are you in a bachelor's degree program?
Yes, I'm about to finish up with a bachelor's in the criminal justice program, in the BS program.
Okay. Well, in my experience, my own personal experience and the experience I have seen in my coworkers, I will advise against taking the paralegal program because you have a bachelor's. You will be wasting money and because many of the things they will teach you in the paralegal certification is things that you can learn very easily, and you already have a legal, a degree that's way more powerful than any certificate. So yes, that is like general occurrence. Smaller law firms actually hire people with more experience because they have less stuff to train and less time, less resources. The larger the company, the more open they will be. Not only the larger, but also the the resources they have available, they will be more open for people just coming out of school. So my advice would be go like aim high, aim really high. Don't settle for mid-sized law firms unless that's what you want, of course. But if you want to, if you're able, if you're interested, aim high. You just Google top law firms in New York. You will find the one I work for, number 1 or 2, and you will find all those top 20. I assure you are able to find, if they have openings, they will take you even without experience. So yeah, my advice is do your research in these top law firms and apply for them. If you want, I can actually, you can send me your resume and I can send the resume to Wachtell myself and to any positions right here in White and Case.
I really greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know if Edwin put some kind of contact or I can do it. I don't know. But you can also do my LinkedIn. You can just search me on LinkedIn and send the information there. I will happily, take a look and see if you will be a fit for these positions. And I can definitely put you in contact with them.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Any questions, folks? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my email address in there, just in case if folks, if depending upon how you want to reach out, Samuel, if you want them to email you, that's fine. They could email me and I could forward you their contact information. If you want, totally up to you folks, but my email address is in the chat. Oops, sorry, that was just you, Samuel. My apologies. Everyone in the meeting. But go right ahead, folks. Do you have any questions, concerns? So I guess the rule of thumb is pretty much actually start in a big law firm, get the experience, and then move your way if you want to a smaller firm, then go for it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, many of us, including myself, have the thought of going to a law school. And even if you're not ready to go to law school straight from college and you want to get some field experience, it's absolutely advisable to go to a larger firm that has a larger name, that has a more recognized, prestige, especially if you want to go to a very good law school. It's really, I think it will enrich you more to go to a top law firm, because you can learn, you can expose yourself to a lot of different opportunities. That can be law school, that can be doing what I'm doing, move from litigation to business development in law, or continue growing as a paralegal, because paralegals have different levels as well. So if you really like being a paralegal, you can also stay doing that. And if you start in a good firm, your path is probably going to be very successful. So yes, my point of view is that you will have very good chances if you start in a big law firm. Yeah.
That's interesting how that would go. Usually folks like to start small, but in this sort of field, it's good to start big, get the resources. And I would ask, how is networking pay a part of this for you?
Very high. I actually got recommended to Wachtell, my first job where I was a paralegal, from a lawyer I met in a networking event. So it was key for me. Of course, I was hired based on my, experience or my credentials or whatever. I would go well in the interview, I guess. But also networking, I'm sure that having the reference of someone also helped the hiring manager to make a decision. So yeah, if you're able, because some people work and cannot, but if you're able, I'm sure networking always is never going to do anything bad for you.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, any positions for forensic psychology in your law firm?
I don't think we use any position with that particular name. Yeah. But I could take a look. And I know here, no, but I could take a look to the Wachtell and where I did my internship. I also have another law firm experience in a firm called Faruqi & Faruqi, which is a mid-size law firm. There they had forensic psychology. I could take a look there as well, because that I remember very well. They had forensic psychologists in the firm for personal injury. So yeah, I can take a look for you, but here not really.
Excellent. Any questions, folks? Concerns?
No, I think I'm good. But I did just send you a LinkedIn connection, and I'll send you the resume as soon as I can.
Okay.
Awesome. You see, important part of networking right there.
There you go.
Networking 101 right there. That's excellent. So, folks, any final thoughts, concerns, questions? I guess I take that as a no. So, again, I want to thank Samuel for taking the time of your busy schedule. You know, I appreciate it. And if any folks have any questions, you can email me and I'll be happy to pass along with Samuel any sort of questions and anything that comes up. Definitely want to thank that. Give a round of applause for Samuel for coming on over and taking the time off to speak to you folks. Again, I can't thank you enough, Samuel. I'm glad you came over, talk about your experience and everything that comes to mind of, you know, persevering and moving forward and getting to where you're at right now. It's amazing. Keep up the excellent work, man. I really looking for big things. Are you thinking of going into law school, Samuel, or are you still on the fence?
Well, I'm still deciding because
Okay.
I am seeing a good, you know, professional progress so far in business development. In only like 9 months that I have in this position, they really give me like private equity job in London. So that's like a big jump. So if I keep increasing, like, you know, if I get promoted in my current position, I might not go to law school. If I get
great.
if I feel like I'm too steady here, I might think of going to either law school or another grad school.
And this is traveling to London on their expense and everything?
Well, I will stay in New York, but I
New
will
York?
be
Oh,
working.
okay. You'll be
Yeah,
just working that division.
Yeah, I will just be working in like something called private equity in the London practice. Yeah, but you can be based in New York.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Well, again, man, Samuel, best of luck and thank you again for coming out. Thank you, folks, for coming.